I know you said my beard makes me look soft.
Yeah.
I look soft.
It makes you look friendlier, more approachable.
Hmm. I wish I could just automatically have a long right here, just really long one.
Like ZZ Top. Be a
Well,
sharp-dressed man.
thinner, almost like braided, but like maybe not braided, but thinner. Just a thin.
We should braid bulk braiding hair into your beard and give you a different color every month.
Yes, I love that idea.
Yes. What would be this month?
Well, purple's my go-to. This purple.
Nice.
A nice light violet. I don't know if that's violet, but a light purple.
Light purple.
Since I have no fans on, I'll need my air conditioning. I walked up to the grocery store and bought. I'm looking over blue cheese and beef recipes, and I'm not going to get a steak because I don't have a grill. I don't like pan fried steaks. I don't have cast iron, so I can't do it my way. Fuck it. But then I'm like, meatballs. They have these little meatballs, blue cheese meatballs. So I decide I'm going to make those. And I get another blue cheese square to spread on a cracker to eat. And it got right away, I'm allergic. I have allergies. I felt like I got high off it.
Do you have an allergy to dairy?
I think I did when I was younger. I think I do. I'm not really sure what I have. What I really react to is bread. I've noticed the more I stop eating bread, when I eat it, I puff up. I get itchy spots. I'm like itching. So
almost like a spike of sugar.
Yeah, I feel like it's something to do with bread. And then I had oat milk. Have you ever heard of it? Of course you've heard of this oat milk. It's like almond milk or cashew milk. Now they have something called oat milk, and I tried it in my coffee the other day, and I had stomach aches.
I don't know if I would like oatmeal. It sounds like someone made oatmeal. You know when oatmeal is watery and it's the leftover water? Is it just that?
I think so. I think that's what all of it is. It is, but I felt sick from it. So.
Do you get itchy?
Yeah. I've been getting very itchy every time I eat bread. So I'm cutting bread out of my diet again for a month, and then after the month's over, I'll eat a month's worth of bread in 3 hours. No.
Does pasta make you feel this way?
No, I don't think so. I'm gonna keep track of it this month because I will have some pasta. I think maybe it's yeast. Who knows?
I feel that way as well. I feel like pasta doesn't make me feel that way, but bread does.
Maybe it's the yeast.
It might be.
So Linda, I call her mother sometimes. It's the mother I didn't talk to in 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
She said when my grandfather was a baker. And he said at the end of the day, when they have the stale bread, they would just throw it back in a bucket with warm water, and it would make yeast again. It would make dough again. It would just convert back to dough, and then they'd make bread out of it again. And this is old days. And I'm like, really? And she goes, yeah. So old bread turns back into a ball of dough. You throw bread. If you throw bread in water, warm water, it turns into dough again. And I'm like, holy shit, what does that do in my gut? And she goes, exactly. It's just a big ball. It turns into a big ball of dough and yeast in your gut. So I'm probably not going to want to eat bread so much anymore,
That freaks me out a little bit.
Right? It's gross. It's a living thing then. It's always, once you add water to bread, like it dies, it looks like it's dead, but then it grows again. Oh.
It's the circle of life, the ebb and flow of bread.
Right in my gut. That's why I eat probiotic pills every day. I have these.
It's like prenatals for your bread.
Oh, God. Well, I'm glad you got your computer taken care of today.
Oh, me too. I'm glad it's covered under that recall. They plugged it into a thing, and it would have been like $575, but because it was covered under the warranty, it cost me nothing.
Awesome news.
Yeah, my asshole was so clenched when I went to the Apple store. I was so scared. And when they plugged it into some machine, it like scans it quickly and like reads where, like what year it was and what it's covered and stuff like that. It's crazy how fast they read it. And then it took like 5 seconds for the girl to go through it and go, okay, yeah, it's covered. We can do this, no problem.
Right.
Do you want us to send it to you or do you want to pick it up? And I just told her, send it to me. And then she had me sign a thing. And at the bottom, first I saw the 3-digit giant number, but then it said total savings and it showed that same number and then total due $0.00. And I felt like I was going to poop my pants, the amount of relaxing I suddenly did. I was so scared.
I've been through that same situation with the Mac before. I had a video card or something like that go out, and it was covered by warranty. But I didn't. You don't know until they say you could leave, and it costs you. Everything on the internet pointed towards me getting it covered, being covered, and then not. I hope I could communicate properly. I probably have an allergy right now from fucking blue cheese.
If you start hallucinating and telling weird stories, we will make sure to make it a bonus track. Go to sleep with Shane.
Yeah, well, of course, I bought too much, too. I bought one just for today to eat on crackers. Then I bought another block to put on salads, because now I want a fucking... A wedge salad with blue cheese all over it. That's what I was saying. And then I have the blue cheese in the crumbs for meatballs. So it's like, this is how I do it, though. Once a year I have blue cheese, and it's just like this.
I binge when I have my blue cheese, too. That makes... We have to hold a blue cheese party.
Smothering our face in blue cheese. I think that's how LeVay smother your face.
The jockstrap soiree, something like that. Wear your shittiest outfit.
I did not drink any coffee, so I feel low energy. I should have coffee during these things.
You say that, and then you tread the fine line of Alex Jones and Birthday Nightmare when it's too much coffee.
I don't want that either. It feels so natural, though, honestly. I know someone else said that to me like years ago, like 5 years ago maybe. Like, you're just like Alex Jones. I was like, there's no fucking way. That's ridiculous. But I get what they're saying, like the angry white male type of thing. But I'm on the left, so it's like I don't see it because he's on the right.
He's like an adversary.
Yeah, well.
This podcast is based around the history and experiences of the infamous Shane Bugbee, recollected and retold by Shane Bugbee himself. Who is Shane? Well, you're about to find out. I'm your host, Nannerl, and this is Speak of the Devil.
The adversary is self versus self. The adversary represents growth versus stagnation, self-violation, self-strangulation of the self, of others' self. The self given as gift or curse handed down from parents or truck stop abuse. The self projected upon us from teacher or employer. The self, not self-taught. You can't follow the rules of Satanism. They are within on your reason. Not the reason, not your reason, just reason. But remember, there is honesty within occult practice. So tell me, Shane, what's that from?
Where does that come from, that lunacy? That's ridiculous.
I know, right? All this psychobabble I just had to read out loud.
Psychobabble. I'm going to have to quote you for the next book. Yeah, I guess that's from... I don't... yeah, that's I'm slightly embarrassed to hear it back, but that's how it is. I spit out this artwork or these words, and I try not to revisit them too much after I publish them. That's from the Joys of Satanism, the book I just put out. That's what that's from.
I choose this part of the reading because it definitely goes well with what we're going to talk about, which is a very special character, the adversary. What is the adversary? Who is the adversary?
Are you asking me?
Sure.
I don't know. I guess it's for me. What is the adversary to me? I guess rich people or that system at large, like the entire system at large.
Mm-hmm.
That's the adversary to me. It just is a constant upsetting thing when I walk around in public, the system at large, and how it has made what seems to be very decent people very dim-witted. And so it's painful to go to the grocery store at times, just to look at people. I'm like, and I brush them and I say hi, and then there's a sign that they're dim-witted. Maybe they're wearing the religious icon around their neck or something. I don't know. It's just the system at large is the adversary to me.
Do you think?
And I hope I am the adversary to it.
That was my next question. Do you think that Satan is often a portrayal within literature as the adversary to something else, whether it be knowledge versus blindly following something, questioning something versus following something? It often is an antithesis to something else. And do you think that everyone's form of being the adversary is the same?
Well, I guess if they're of the status quo, yes. Yes, I think that most people, yes, it falls into the same. So maybe they can't be an adversary when they're of the 98%. Maybe the herd cannot be the adversary. It's only the sheep herder and the wolf. They are the adversaries. But the herd of sheep, and I hate to use all these typical terms in Satanism, herd, sheep, horde,
hive,
flock,
gaggle.
Hive. Yeah, so unfortunately, this is where I'm stuck. That's it. But I think the herd can't be an adversary. They just follow. They follow whoever has the stronger whip. It's unfortunate that I see it that way, because I don't see it that way. I see people could be better. They don't need to be led by the might or a whip. But it seems to be the way it is. People struggle to survive, and their fear is of starvation, of being homeless. So it's just the boss and the adversary to the boss, the people who want to smash the state and the people who run the state versus the counterculture, if the counterculture is doing it right. If it's not like, I just bought a bag of coffee the other day from the coffee shop, and I get it home, I throw it on the table, and I look at it, and it says counterculture coffee. I was like, almost vomited my brains out. I was like, oh my God. Like, it's not, counterculture doesn't sell shit. Counterculture steals shit maybe, or destroys shit, or looks at a way to pervert the system, or bring sexuality to the forefront of your life, not to the closet. Take it out of the closet.
I think it's for Johnny Johnny 9 to 5 to feel like he can loosen his tie a little, maybe put it around his head, make him all amped up for Burning Man or whatever he wishes to do.
Counterculture coffee?
With his counterculture coffee.
Yeah, what a weird name. Man.
I mean, who's going to get a cup of coffee called Johnny 9 to 5 coffee?
Well, it's true. And even after like the Arab Spring, when that revolution went down, they said within 2 months there was advertising throughout the Arab world that was like, join the revolution, drink a Coca-Cola. So people use these things, to market rebellion. And there's no rebellion in commerce. There's only choices. Rebellion's not nice. And I'm not even for rebellion. I am, but not in the way people think. People see rebellion in a History Channel kind of way. Maybe that's why most people are stuck in that herd. They see it in a violent way versus seeing the system at large as violent. The need to compete, the need to be employed as much as we are. What an awful system.
I think that commodifying something such as coffee as counterculture is sort of commodifying the illusion that someone is the adversary. It gives them a little taste of it without being that, safely.
I guess entertainment does that well too, doesn't it? Like an Ozzy Osbourne. I used to always think like, wow, music is so empowering and freeing. And as I got older, I thought maybe it's not. Maybe what they view once music evolved out of the Janis Joplin and Jimi Hendrix moment, that 60s moment when it was actually counterculture, and the corporations got a hold of it and started selling it to us, that an Ozzy Osbourne became someone who was more of a slave driver, with not even willingly, but unwillingly. He's just selling people that relief that you could be a rebel for the weekend and I'll get back to work. How much did you work to pay for this ticket and this weekend off? Like a month you saved to come to the Ozzy Osbourne concert or whatever concert, you Slipknot or whatever satanic or rebellious band, rock and roll. Or country and western even is sold as rebellious. It's
outlaw.
Yeah, outlaw country, and it's not. It's like on every channel. It's on every radio station.
Even before that, Johnny Cash is sort of.
But those people are from the generation when they weren't on radio, like Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson. I think a lot of times they were struggling. See, we're comparing a whole different era. Like I say, Janis Joplin and Jimi Hendrix weren't on the radio. Jimi Hendrix was someone who was an outcast because of his color alone. You know, he was just like not allowed, you know, he was an outcast. But now Jimi Hendrix t-shirts are in every mall in America. So I wonder, that's what I'm saying, like outlaw culture back then, now it's co-opted by these big multinational corporations.
The ones who were cashing out on the Beatles before that.
Yeah, right. When I was a kid, when I was like 20-something, I remember Led Zeppelin was a big deal when I was like 10. Like they were like, my uncle liked them. And then they died off, and then their song was used to sell Cadillacs. Like one of their songs was used to sell a Cadillac, and I know a lot of old people.
Immigrant Song, I think, was the one they used.
It?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But then that people were like offended. Deeply offended old people. I just watched this. I'm like 20-something, so I wasn't that invested in Led Zeppelin. But I know older counterculture people are like, how dare them use that to sell a car?
Hey, man, you're sold out, man.
Yeah. It's like, and I can see that now, though. I wouldn't want mayhem or any black metal bands.
I don't want to see King Diamond sell me a Mazda 3 or something like that. I don't want a new gym to open and someone's working out to Venom.
Right. Oh, God.
Pizza Day on Friday. Meet and greet with King Diamond.
Yeah, the black burger buns that I've seen online. They'll have those. The King Diamond burger at Burger King. King Diamond Happy Meal.
Burzum's Black Burgers.
Yeah, right. Burzum's Black. Oh, God.
Cooked on an iron cross at 1488 degrees.
Oh, God, 1488. Oh, you're done.
It tastes so brutal, it'll kill you. I am so sorry, everybody. You should totally watch Lords of Chaos.
I was just going to say, I went and saw Lords of Chaos at the theater the night it opened, the midnight show, and I expected the place to be packed. There was only me and another guy in there. Two people, two lonely dudes sitting in there. I was like, this is sort of cool. This is just like back in the day when you'd go to see a black metal band. There was only like 2 or 3 dudes there. Maybe one girl, and you know, she was, you know, I'm not going to put her, okay, I'm not going to slut shame, but definitely that's a very good word in black metal. Slut is a high queen, high royalty.
It's like being called bitch by your gay friend.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I don't know about that, but I don't know about that culture, but I just know like slut is a word of praise in the black metal community. Women will take it as praise, like, yeah, I am. There's no slut shaming. But so all I'm saying is it reminded me when I went to Lords of Chaos just this year, oh my God, it's still not popular. This is great. I love it. People are afraid of black metal or something. I don't know. The movie was great, by the way.
I really liked it, and I really like that. Yes, of course.
That's the lifestyle I lived when I was younger. When you see that, when they're shooting shotguns into a farmhouse and getting drunk and everyone's fucking and just out of their head fucking wasted, that was my life. Oh, I loved it.
I was not sure what to expect out of it, but I was drawn to it because of the circumstances in the movie and the fact that Macaulay Culkin's younger brother played a main character, much like Macaulay Culkin was in a murder biopic, Party Monster, playing Michael Alec. And I found that really amusing, that his brother was playing a character in it. I love how he ends. I love the ending of it, how it's so satanic at the end, how he's like, don't be sad for me. I lived a good life. You know, I enjoyed myself.
Yeah, it was wild. I really liked the movie. And I know a lot of I know a lot of those people. Like, I used to write to, Count Grishnak. Varg. I used to write to Varg when he was in prison, and I know a lot of those people. You know, I booked the first black metal bands in the United States, and most of them were opposed to the movie, would not talk about seeing it. And so I went there undercover. Like, I was like, I'm not going to let anyone know I saw it because I didn't want to be an outcast amongst the outcast again. Not again. You know, my black metal friends are the only ones that still talk to me in the satanic community. But I have to admit, I loved the movie. I thought it was really great. I did like the ending too. I don't remember it as well as you do, but you strike a chord of memory there when you say those words, and that was good. That was good.
I think it's very much also in the philosophy of satanic black metal, the idea of you are one with nature. You died because you're not going to live forever. It's quite occult that character said that.
I'm hoping, I'm putting these jars together with my hair in them. Mm-hmm. And I'm hoping that someone will clone me at a later date, and that I will come back to life. Spirit, you know, like the whole thing, I'll feel it again. Like, yeah, I'll remember when I put these hair in the jar. Like, so I'm hoping that I could live in moments forever. Like, even if I die off, someone can clone me again and bring me actually back to life.
You want to come back?
Oh, fuck yeah. I would like to live forever.
Wow.
I don't want to die.
Wow.
I like life. I love life.
I do too, but I think that when it's time to go, it's okay.
Oh, I'm accepting of that. I have a courageous nature that leads me in a direction that, you know, I've been shot at. I've had death threats, and that doesn't bother me. But that doesn't mean I want to die.
Right.
It just means I live life without a lot of fear. But hell, if someone could clone me and bring me back after I die, like, let's say I'm dead for 10 years, and I'm like, it's like, boom, we cloned your hair out of that jar. You're fucking kidding me. You mean I could go piss on my own grave right now? And they're like, yeah. Oh, that's cool. Like, because I always want to get I want to make enough money where I can get a grave and visit my own grave and then piss on it. Like when I get self-loathing, like I fucking you piece of shit. You fucking failure. Go there and piss on my own grave. It'll be a very cathartic moment. Then I can just get it over with in one drunken weekend versus a whole month of depression. Like, what are you doing with your fat life?
You could do a little better every time.
Right.
Criticize yourself every single time and just take another step higher.
And then it's accepted because people come to the graveyard and they'll see like me punching myself, like smacking myself in the face. I fucking, you know, they'll be like, oh, that guy's just mourning someone's death. But it's just me pissing on my own grave.
I don't know. I think that I would like to be cremated with coins to bribe my way through whatever questioning and trouble that reaches me, much like Shinto Buddhist fashion in Japan. And then I want my ashes to be mixed either in a varnish or a rosin to be part of different cellos.
Oh, wow.
And maybe some of my bones made into pieces that would have otherwise been ivory or ebony pieces on bows and cellos.
Oh, that's fucking tight. But see, so I don't want to be cremated at all. I want to be put into the ground whole without a box. I just want to be put in the ground and let it put a tree over me. Mm-hmm. But because I say that, guaranteed I'm going to be cremated. Like that's what'll happen to me because I have a wish. It will be shit on because that's my life. But whatever, I accept that too. Like, but my I'll be dead, so it doesn't matter anyway. But there's my prediction. I'll be cremated by some bastard in my family or someone who owns my dead body, and they won't carry out my wishes. But
I'll take care of it.
All right, I'm putting you up. I'm counting on you. Then this is
as long as Varg doesn't stab me for joking about him on this episode. Varg, please don't kill me. It's all in good fun.
Yeah, see, but they're too nihilistic. Like black metal folks got a good funny, good sense of humor because they're so nihilistic. Like they don't give a fuck. They're just moving forward on their own shit.
That's quite satanic.
Yeah, like they're the ultimate in satanic. And that's why I get along. We get along. I think they might relate with me on having this. You say the word Satan so many times, you're like, I'm sick of it, and I hate anyone who likes it. I don't want to say the S word, especially because I'm on a satanic podcast. So it becomes that adversarial, that rebellious thing. Like it's a natural thing for me. It's like even when I was in grade school, I remember being in Catholic school. And this teacher, oh man, so I was always just me, whatever that is. I can't describe it. But I know this teacher was so upset with me. It's Catholic school. And she dug her nails into my skin. She dug her nails in and she looked down. I looked. And because I was an abused kid, like I've gotten a tattoo before and fell asleep. So I can deal with pain. Like if someone's going to punch on me, I can deal with it. I can take a beating. You know, when you're a young kid and take a beating from an adult, you can take it. There's nothing that's huge. And so this lady did it, and I remember looking at her, and she looked at me in the eyes like to see pain. It was a weird exchange because she looked at me and did it, and looked at me with this sadistic look in her face, and I smiled at her and looked at her in the eyes like I just smiled, like keep going. I'm not going to cry. You'll never get me to cry. My father can't get me to cry. Do it. And then she started to cry. She's like, oh my God. And then she ran out of the room. But she was enjoying it for a moment. And I enjoyed her enjoying it.
I think you took the power away from it.
That's what I did. Exactly. As a child, I would not cry. You parents beat on you. They want to break you. And I would not break. And so it was really horrible. But I would not break. My brother, I don't want to get into this because it's a horrible story, but my brother would break. But I would not.
I think that a lot of times the adversary knows how to conceal their weakness, because when you are one against a group, showing your weakness makes things even more challenging.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I like that. But now, present day, I cry all the time. And you know what? That's great, because that's a great observation, because within this group of people like Satanists, mm-hmm. As I am older now, I believe in talking about my weakness. I believe in talking about mental illness or going to go see a counselor. I believe in that because I know everyone in that group doesn't. They're opposed to it. They're opposed to weakness. So in my poetry, I don't like to call my writing poetry, and I don't like to call it writing. But the sculpture with words, I sculpt, and I use words sometimes. And those sculptures, when I use them, a lot of them talk about weakness or picking yourself up after falling down recently. And I know that'll bother people who are on the left-hand path in the satanic way, because they're much like the abused child I was, where they're going to look at someone and go, I'm strong. You're not scaring me. And even though they'll be in the face of someone who's 17 foot tall and just is going to fucking step on their crumb ass, like they'll just crush them. They're going to try to present a physical manifestation of strength, and they're going to get their ass stomped. Like that's what I learned through like nonviolent communication, is at that moment, what breaks down people that are going to stomp your ass is you saying, I don't feel safe here. I'm a little afraid. And people that are about to stomp your ass, they hear the words, they hear that, and they break down, and they're like, oh, the only reason they were going to stomp your ass is because you put up that strong front. Do you get what I'm saying?
It almost sounds like the first step that what you did in Catholic school that you're saying a lot of Satanists do is it almost seems like that's the first phase, almost like a tadpole. And then when you grow your legs, you learn how to use that other side of it, the admitting your fear, admitting that weak point, not really weaponizing it, but learning how to use it as a resourceful tool.
Learning that if honesty is the ultimate thing with occult stuff, and that words that you read, there's honesty in the occult, and that's the truth. Like when you're honest with a person who's about to oppose you, they don't know how to react because they have a mask on. They're like, "Give me that fucking money." They got a gun on you, whatever. "Give me that fucking money," and they've got this mask on. When you say, "You're scaring me," they're basically going to relate with you because they're afraid. They've got a mask on. You don't. You're like, "Hey, I'm afraid of you right now." And I heard this one actor, William Hurt, said he was over in Brazil or South America or somewhere where there was a lot of gun violence. And people were getting shot and taken hostage, and someone broke into his apartment. He had 2 friends there. And the guy's pointing a gun, had a mask on, points a gun at him, said, "Get against the wall and turn your back to me." And William Hurt goes, "I will not turn my back to you." And he goes, "Turn around." He goes, "If you're going to kill me, you have to look me in the eyes." And the guy pointed the gun at his face, and he goes, "I'm not." He goes, "Turn around." And he goes, "I will not let you shoot me in the back of the head. You're going to have to look in my eyes to kill me." And the person with the gun ran out of the apartment. Couldn't do it. And that's where it finally pushed me over the top to go, that's exactly it. You have to bury yourself as a human being because everyone else around you has masks. They have these fronts. They're all black. They're wearing their satanic best. The tattoos, the tattoo culture I came from wasn't a fashion one. We got tattoos to scare people away from us. You will fear us. And we did that because we were of the abused, the picked on, the maligned, the marginalized. And so we needed to fight back some way, aesthetically or in an abstract way. But when you bear that down, when you're like, "No, I'm you and you're me. We're both afraid here, aren't we? We're human beings." And once they can feel that, they go right to their child. I think when William Hurt said, "You have to look in my eyes to kill me," that person with the gun had to see his parents, had to see his loved ones, had to see a human being. Those eyes are reflecting back on him just like he loves someone at some point. If he's going to kill someone hurt his feelings, or that person is maybe as a woman, someone hurt that person's feelings at some point. And they had to have love for it to be hurt.
That element is very lacking on the internet, and it makes it very easy to attack and argue with others. And I think that half of these conflicts, whether toward an adversary, an enemy, or even a peer, could be completely avoided if they were in person.
And honest. But yes, I think you're right about that internet stuff. There's a lack of humanity on there.
You can't look at someone's eyes.
No, but you feel so much too on the internet. Like there's so much, like getting on, I was just on Twitter. I got an app today. I downloaded an app to limit my time on Twitter and Instagram. So I'm not on there so much because I noticed with all the bad news, I get depressed. And I'm like, I have no reason to be depressed right now. I have all this stuff going on. And I get depression is about chemical imbalances and stuff like that. But I'm triggered. I'm triggered by the news of the day. And so it's like, I have to limit my time on here. And I think with all that stuff, without the human, like you're saying, looking at people's eyes, there is that we're taking in all these toxins without a balance of that warm or that feeling of that occult, truly in the word, an occult situation, a mystical situation when 2 people are looking at each other on a bus or across from each other in an alley. There's something going on there that's not explainable.
I don't think that internet Satanism can survive on its own. I think that people who are satanic on the internet have to have also a connection in real life for it to truly sustain itself.
What kind of connection?
Whether it's speaking to someone in person or just interacting with others. You can't really be an adversary if you're just Googling things to scowl at.
I see. So if you're just an angry person isolated in a house.
And just being like, yeah, take that, church.
You fall flat.
Yes.
It falls flat. You can only communicate to a certain age group, probably younger people.
Yes, and it's an echo chamber.
I see. Yeah, that's the same with the alt-right or even the alt-left or whatever they want to call them. All of these groups become this echo chamber. Explain the word echo chamber. I sort of get it, but I don't like assumed knowledge as we're talking.
It's a bubble. It's something that you're just shouting out how you feel, and everyone else goes, oh, yes, 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 and they repeat it back to you. Your conversations and your interactions online often are they're revolved around validation and agreement with others.
So you're sort of talking down.
Yes.
Because people that are going to agree with you have never heard that theory before. So
correct.
Yeah.
Or they're at the same level. Mm-hmm.
You look like someone cool that I'd want to hang out with, so I'm going to listen to you.
That's right. That's right.
The abstract has to ring at some point, too.
It's impossible to be the adversary when you're part of that hive. And I think that because of that echo chamber environment, internet Satanism, like, say, TST on Twitter, people on Reddit, etc., they're not quite adversaries when they're downvoting and criticizing others for questioning or disagreeing with what they have decided common knowledge is. I think that there's a lot of adapted ideas and misinformation on the internet regarding Satanism where someone cool said it, so therefore everyone agrees because they want to be cool too. They can't stand on their own because that interaction is so limited.
Yeah, but even with any philosophy, though, especially Satanism, there's sort of that seeking. You have to seek. Mm-hmm. You have to seek an interpretation. Individual interpretation is what it is.
Yes,
even Christians, everyone has that. So you sort of have to seek it out, seek out what the truth is. And I think maybe when you're talking about echo chambers, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but they sort of stop seeking. They just go, hey, this is perfect for me. This fits my life.
Yes, it's almost lazy.
Like a racist guy's like, yeah, I've got someone to blame now. Great, I'm here.
Yes, it falls short. It's very similar to the kits we talked about. Artists making these artisan kits for someone to create the essence of a lifestyle. It's sort of the same way with ideas, where here's this packaged set of ideas, here's your starter kit, now you're part of the group. You don't have to work on anything. Good job.
Yeah, I guess that's what membership is.
Go get a Burger. You get 10% off with membership.
I guess that's what a membership is.
Absolutely.
I remember when I was first working with LeVay, I made these cards to bring to a Comic-Con and pass out. They're like official Church of Satan merchandise, because it was the first time they were doing merch and I was doing it. And I brought it to someone. He did these grandiose, like Frazetta paintings, like Frank Frazetta paintings, like these beautiful, evil fucking paintings. And he was an old man, though. He's like probably 50 years old, my age today, So I just looked at him like an old man. I couldn't believe he even understood what Satanism was. But he looked at it, he started laughing at me. And I'm like, what are you laughing at, dude? Like, I'll fucking swipe at you. And he's laughing at me and laughing at the card. I'm like, explain yourself, dude. And he's like, official. The word official with Church of Satan is sort of funny, isn't it? That's funny. I don't know.
How many years ago was this, though?
30 years ago.
And now, 30 years later, how do you feel? Do you feel like
same as the old man? Like, it's sort of funny, but at the time I felt, hey, I'm in the clique. I'm official. Look, I just got off the phone with LeVay's wife, or Blanche, his girl, his woman, the mother of his child, and she said it's cool. I'm official. This is the only official merch. Like, I'm looking at it as a marketeer, but I'm also looking at it as someone who is involved and involved in the top tier of it. And because of that, I got attention from people, and I'm a pretty invisible person, So I mean that by, like, I've always been in the margins and ignored, and just so I was involved in a group where I was getting attention, and so it felt great. as I look at it now, I sort of laugh at myself, like, oh, that's so sad. You sad young man. You know.
You're now the old man, and you're laughing at people who say, Lucien Greaves liked my post, so therefore I'm right.
Yeah. I'm sort of like, that's sort of funny. And I preach an individual interpretation of your own life versus needing to be guided by hucksters, by people who are saying they're a guide. I'm not saying we don't find guides throughout our life, but I'm saying that we don't need guides. I'm saying sometimes, an influence, like we don't need mentors. You don't need a mentor. You don't need to be guided. But sometimes it's not so bad. I've had plenty of mentors and it's cool. But I don't think that we need them. I think if in a perfect world, we'd be able to explore ourselves and our sexuality and all of that without hesitation.
I think,
but we're not in a perfect world, so.
I think that if someone finds a mentor and follows a mentor, the most important thing that they should remember is not to try to fit the same mold as their mentor, but use that mentorship to grow from it. Help it benefit you rather than copying the mentor.
For sure. The idea, I think, a lot of times, for me at least, when I've been in those situations where I've needed guides, but we don't live in this perfect world. I've challenged them, and most everything that I've learned from them isn't stuff they were trying to teach me, but stuff I failed at.
Yes.
With what their teachings were. Like, things I failed at. Falling down, being willing to fall down and pick myself back up and go there and say, oh, I guess I was wrong about that, Dave. Dave Archer, one of my greatest mentors. I don't know if I'd say greatest, but longest. If I say greatest, it gives Dave too much. He has a big head. I love you, Dave. I love you, Dave.
I think that a lot of people are very, let's use a young person word. A lot of people are thirsty for a mentor nowadays. And I think it has to do with being a slightly lonely culture now on the internet. And so I think that need for interaction with someone, but also there's a lot of lost kids, or when I say kids, I mean people under 30. There's a lot of people who not only need that mentorship, but maybe they're on their own. Maybe they don't have people of the same ilk to interact with in person. So they want to start and they need that. They're missing somewhere in their life that heavy structure. Much like when people are attracted to gangs. I hate to say it that way, but you know how a lot of people who get led into or attracted into gangs, they needed that father or that older brother.
We're talking about the same thing when I was talking about the Church of Satan a little bit ago. How I was really cling to it and it became cultish. Mm-hmm. I started to defend things and defend defend whatever stance they had versus having my own. But at some point that felt so odd to me. It didn't last too long before I was at war with the entire a lot of them. So I'm happy about that.
I think that agreement with the mentor is another sort of weird slip that tends to happen when an adversary is presented, because a lot of people feel the need to impress their leader, or, as the kids say, notice me, senpai, would be sort of the expression that goes along with it.
What is that?
Senpai is a mentor or a teacher. It's a Japanese word, and the colloquial, I think it goes along with like geek culture, especially with anime culture. The opposite of senpai, the position of the pupil, is kohai. So a senpai is the mentor, the kohai is the student or the pupil, the protege. I don't know where it came from. If anyone knows, you can tell me at speakofthedevilpod@gmail.com, or just shoot me a tweet at speakofthedevilpod. But there's an expression that pops up a lot in pop culture references because of this, and it's "notice me, senpai," and it's sort of the idea that someone who's, blossoming in whatever they're doing wants their teacher to pat them on the back.
I think that's true, though. Mm-hmm. You don't?
I do. And I think that it's a perfect expression to point out how a lot of people want that pat on the head. So going with the flow against the adversary feels right to a lot of people. That kind of flow. Yes.
Right, exactly.
And being like, right, guys.
Right.
I think that the growing pain within newer recruits.
It's not really thoughtful, because if you're going with the flow, how's anyone going to notice you in a sea of shit or a sea of flowers? A sea of flowers, I'll put it. There's a bunch of sunflowers. I won't say shit, but there's a whole sea of sunflowers. If you're going with the flow, how would anyone see you? How would the master see you if you're the same as everyone else?
I think also the chance of fitting in, though.
What?
Oh, sorry. The chance of fitting in is there as well. A lot of people in these environments had never fit into something.
Right, but once you fit in, you no longer stand out. And how are you going to be seen by the master if you don't stand out? You have to attack the master. You have to go after the master. I just watched the Bruce Lee movie. He's like, come at me. No, hard. You're like, don't do that. Don't do it nice. Come at me. Telling the kid, come at me. And it was just this great moment. And I think it's like that. Like, you have to come at the motherfucker when he says that. Like, you have to come at him and knock him down. If you could put your master on his back, and he's going to get up and go, wow, I respect that. You are always in my sights now. I can guarantee you that there's no way in hell that people from the Church of Satan can ignore me, and people from the Satanic Temple, they can never ignore me.
No.
Because I put them both on their back. Even though, like, the Church of Satan people have been on top before. Like, they, like you could say they were the boss, but I put them on their back, And that's what I intend to do with my work in the future. put people on their back. Like, that's the best I can. Or, bow to the person who puts me on my back. I'll never forget them. I don't know. I want to stand out. I don't want to fit in. I never, and I don't even want to stand out, but it's just the way it happens. It's like a natural thing for me. It's like
I think the default is you stand out when you question something, or if, like, you use the metaphor of sunflowers. Sunflowers, when the sun is out, they turn the heads of the flowers face in the direction of where the sun is.
Really?
Yes. And so if you are not a sunflower, if you're not turning the same direction, you stick out like a sore thumb with those sunflowers.
Wow. Well, it's a natural occurrence for me. I don't necessarily want to stand out, but I guess I do here and there by asking questions, like you're saying. It's usually by it's just like that too. It's about asking questions, or without effort. Without effort, I think maybe the people who are making an effort at standing out become. Maybe that if I thought about have I ever done that, it would probably been at a younger moment, and I'd probably feel like, oh, that was sort of pathetic, or maybe not pathetic, but you're trying to get noticed. The effort in getting noticed might be very much like everyone else trying to get noticed. Being genuine and having a genuine question that's against the grain gets you to stand out. And I think that's what I've noticed is my genuine self, my genuine questions have gotten me in trouble more than my, oh, fuck you, mister. Like, I'll use Dave Archer again, like just my, oh, fuck you, Dave. Like, those things he's not bothered by. But if I have a genuine question about, if I catch him in a slip, like, oh, that's a hypocrisy. you're being hypocritical to something you said. That might fluster him. But Dave's a master, so that's a rare occurrence. I've been able to catch him in something where he's hypocritical.
I think when someone's a master of something, they have nothing else to prove because they've already made it also. And so they almost expect for their students to question them.
Oh, that's good.
I think that true masters encourage their students to question.
That reminds me of Dave. Like he has nothing to lose. He's 80 something, and he's just like, he's like a road sage or just a master. Like before you ask the question, he gives you the answer. And you're like, shit, I was going to ask that question. He goes, of course you were. Of course. It's like life is boring to him. He's been through this. He's like, yeah, I've been through it. Yep. Keep moving.
That's a good master, though. They have nothing to lose. So all they have is to give. A true master is generous. They know they're valuable, and their students who respect them become perfect adversaries because while they push the limits, they still respect that they are learning from the best.
Thank you for listening. Please subscribe and tune into our next episode wherever you prefer to listen to podcasts. You can find us at Speak of the Devil Pod on Twitter and contact us at speakofthedevilpod@gmail.com. For Shane's artwork or to support his endeavors, please visit shanebugby.com or find him on Twitter at ShaneBugby. I've been Nannerl. Have a good one.
Oh, and shaneisthedevil.com.